Alright, hello everyone, it's Teamrocketdraws here with another Pokemon drawing tutorial, and for this video we're going to be drawing one of the new Pokemon from Sun and Moon, Dartrix. So as you guys can see on screen, this is how he ends up looking like. So if you guys want to learn how to draw him, then let's get started. I'm also going to put up a reference right now on screen, that way it's easier for you guys to draw, and at the same time you guys can get all your details. Just keep in mind guys that he's not going to end up looking like the reference 100%, but we do end up getting pretty close. And just like my other videos, don't press hard on your pencil. Do your line slide, because we are going to start off by doing a sketch, and then from there on you guys are going to do your final drawing. So yeah guys, the better that you guys make the sketch, the easier it's going to be to follow the tutorial, and the better it's going to be. So first of all, we're going to start off by doing this shape right here. I don't know what kind of shape that is guys, other than like a headstone I guess, but that's not something I want to say. But yeah, it's just like this round shape at the top, and then it kind of goes in a little bit into like these straight lines. And right here on the left side, it's almost like a straight line. I pointed it out a little bit, and the right one should be more round. I do that in just a little bit. And another thing is try to get it the right size, because if you guys don't get it the right size, then it's gonna look a little bit off, you know, once we start doing more of the details. So right here I'm just rounding off the right side. I had the line pretty straight, so I had to curve that, and then right here I just make that line, and around here it starts curving. So you guys can see I make a point almost right there. And I was just to show you guys to get a point across, you know. The left side is more straight than the one on the right. So now that we have that, we can just do the bottom right there. There we go, and we basically have our basic shape of Dartrix. So now what we can do is just split it in half. You guys could just guess, you know, but it always helps just having something to compare it to. Usually I use my fingers if I'm drawing on my own. But like always, you guys could always use some paper. I use the paper just so you guys can see. Basically I use the end, and then I mark off a point, the length of the object, and then I just fold the paper, the corner into the line, and it basically gives us half of the shape, you know. So right here I mark it off with the pencil just so you guys can see. And I was pretty close. It should be a little bit higher than that, but if you guys notice, I was pretty close, you know. So you guys can use your fingers. Usually that's what I do, you know. So there we go. Once we have the middle, then the rest is just gonna be easy, you know. We're gonna know where to place everything. So now right here at the bottom, we're gonna do a little dot. Just look for the middle once again. The same thing on top, but instead of doing a straight line right here in the middle line also, but instead of doing it like a straight line, we're gonna curve it a little bit to the right. If you guys notice there, it should be round right there. I did it flat. I mean, yeah, like a straight line, but it should be like rounded off. Just because he is looking at an angle, he's not like looking at it straight ahead. So we could just do this line. I might have went a little bit too far, but it's still okay. It came out okay overall. So just I left that dot in the middle line right there. I do basically where it would be half, just so you guys could get an idea of how much far away it goes from the actual middle. Hopefully I'm making sense and I'm not confusing you guys. Have you guys seen my other tutorials? Usually I split any shape at the beginning in half, but this time I'm doing it this way. So if you guys haven't seen my other tutorials, make sure to go check them out. So now around here, higher than the middle of the shape, and a little bit to the left, almost, I gotta say almost in the middle too. We're gonna start by doing the face. So it's basically a heart shape. So right there I'm just making the points of where it should be. So right there it's fairly lower than the top, and then we're just gonna curve it in, and this one actually connects to the outside, to the outline of the first shape that we did. And just try to make it like a heart shape, you know. You guys might have a hard time doing this, but it's hard, you know. Now on this side, the same thing. And then right here, what I was doing is it doesn't connect on this side, but I noticed that the top of the heart should be the same, should be basically on the same level. So that's where I extend the heart a little bit higher, you know. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it's just one of those things that you guys might want to do, because if you guys look at the reference, it's basically a straight heart, you know. And right here Mine is actually a little bit lower than it should be, but it's not a big deal, you know. Right here I was just trying to get the right shape, you know, like a good heart shape. And overall I mean, and once we have that, then we basically have the face, and we're almost done, guys. You know, he's not that hard. It's just the smallest parts. And I'm not saying that he's easy, but he's not that hard. You know, there's other Pokemon that are way more complicated than him. So now around where the point is, we're gonna start by doing the shape, which is basically his wing. Then right here at the bottom, and his wing is fairly long. I think right here I'm making mine way longer. But it should basically be the same length as the one on the other side, but for some reason, just looking at the reference right now, it looks way too long. If let's say that he puts it back to like the other hand, you know, it looks like it's gonna be way longer, you know. So I don't know, guys, it just looks a little bit longer. So basically it should be the length from the bottom to where the heart is, like where the heart starts, around there. That's where it should basically be the length. Once again, you guys can use your fingers. I don't do that. I don't think I do, but it's just like a rough estimate that you guys might want to do. So we basically got the wing right there. Right here I'm just working on the heart a little bit, try to make both sides the same, you know. That's the hardest part of doing the heart, is that you have to do it the same on both sides. So now around the middle, gotta say around here, we're gonna start by doing the beak, and it's basically like a seed shape. And if you guys notice, the point, it's not on the actual line. It's almost like it's basically going straight. And then we're gonna split the beak almost, I think it's around halfway, but right there I do a little bit higher. Alright, so now the eyes are actually a little bit higher than where the where we split the beak. And right here I make the right one a little bit higher than the left one. I do fix that later on. I didn't notice that when I was doing the drawing, just because of the angle that I'm looking at it, you know. So now around here, it's basically the middle. We're gonna start by doing one of the leaves that he has on right there. It's basically like a bow. There we go. And now the same thing on this side. And right there, if you guys notice, I'm making mine a little bit higher, just because of the angle that I'm looking at it, you know. The leaf should go a little bit lower than halfway of the middle line. I do change that in just a little bit. And the leaves should be the same size, you know, both of them. Yeah, I think this is where I guess I just erased the inside. It doesn't have to be exactly, guys, but it, you know, it might help. See right there, I do the line. It should be a little lower than the middle line. I had a hard time doing it right here. Alright, so now that we have that, we're just going to do this reference line going across the bottom of the beak. And that's just going to help us do the wing. So that's basically where the wing is, and then we can just connect both of them. So like I said, I guess I was wrong, guys. Like before, I said it was at the bottom of the heart, the length of the wing, but it's actually at the bottom of the beak. I'm sorry. So now we could just complete this shape right here, and it sticks out a little bit outside of the first shape that we did. There we go. Alright, so now that we have that, we can start by doing the hair. The hair is really close to the beak around there, so we're just going to do this line, and it goes to around here. So now that we have that line, it's going to be easier to do the rest. So it does go above the actual heart. There we go. And now we can start by doing this side. So this side sticks out right in the middle of the heart, and it goes outside of the body. So now we can just do it on this side. And this one, right here, I'm just paying attention to the thickness of the hair, you know, how thick it is. So it's not gonna be the same for you guys, so just try to get the shape of the hair right, you know, how thick it is, how big it is. And there we have that side. Now on this side, sticks out a little bit in the same part where the other hair starts. But if you guys notice, this one is not as thick and it's not as big. So actually, I think I made mine a little bit way bigger than I should have. It comes out of the body way more than the reference does. But like I said, it doesn't have to be like the reference, so it's alright, you know. And it doesn't have to be like mine, so once again, it's okay if it doesn't look like mine or the reference. You guys can make any changes to your drawing. Right there, just small details for the leaves, for the bow. Alright, so now around here, I was gonna say like around halfway of the bottom part of the first shape that we did. A little bit lower than that, we're gonna start by doing this shape right here. And I would just try to do the thickness of the legs first, you know, try to look at the thickness of the legs compared to the outside of the first shape that we did. Right here I was just trying to look at the thickness of the legs, you know, at the bottom. I was just trying to make them the same thickness. I don't know if I go over it right there. So now around the middle, like I said before, we're gonna start by doing this shape right here, which is basically like an upside down triangle, a rounded off triangle in a way. There we go. And then a little part sticks out around there, and it connects to the wing. Another one on this side, and it connects to around there, a little bit lower than halfway, basically where the other side ends, like where the first upside that triangle that we did. It's a little bit lower than the leaf. Just do it on the same level. So then around here we're just gonna do this wing, because if you guys look at the reference, it has that part like that. So now for the feet, guys, the feet I think are the hardest part. This one goes, see right here I do it way wrong. It should basically go to the half line that we did on the first shape. Right here I would just look at the reference, guys. Like, I'm not good at doing feet, so just look at the reference, guys. I'm sorry. There's always something that I have trouble with. Usually is the eyes. See right there, I went way lower. It should be on the same level as the other leg, and it should be once again like halfway of the middle line that we did at the first shape. I don't know, guys, like right here I made them way too big, you know. I do fix that later on, but right there they're just really bad. I know you guys don't have to tell me, I could tell. So now right here for the back, and then a bigger one that goes way lower on this side. It should basically line up with the wing, the tip of the wing, just as a reference. And if you guys notice, we basically got Dartrix. So now over here for the wing, don't do this line, guys, right there. I thought it was around there, but then once I looked at it a little bit better, I noticed that it was basically halfway. So right here I change it, and I basically do a line in the middle of that wing. And that reference line is just to help us know where to do the fingers, basically. Right there I round it off a little bit just because it's not a straight line, and I start doing one of the feathers, or one of the fingers. And right here I'm just looking at basically trying to fit all 5 of them. 2, 4, yeah, there's 5 of them. I try to fit all 5 of them in there, and I try to make them all the same thickness, you know. And that's it. It might take you guys a couple tries doing it, you know, trying to get them all the same thickness, but all 5 to fit in there. So it might take you guys a couple tries, but just, you know, just try it. And then right there I didn't like it, guys. Like, it felt like the fingers were too short, you know, they didn't look long enough. I didn't like how that looked. So right here basically what I did, just for myself, you know, to help me later on once I do the final drawing, is that I extend the shape a little bit more. Right here, that's when I noticed, so I make that finger a little bit longer, the lines right there, these two, just to make the feathers a little bit longer, you know. It's okay right there, but when I was doing it, just didn't look right. So now on this side it has like this shape right here. The other one starts around here, and once again these are basically the same size, and then one in the middle, and then it has a smaller one in between those. See, this is where I noticed it didn't look right, but basically what I needed to do was basically extend the lines from the fingers a little bit lower, because if you guys look at the reference, they almost touch the thumb, basically where the thumb would be, the smallest one, the first one on top. It gets really close to the orange on the wing, looking at the reference. So that's one of those things that I didn't notice, you know. So that's why I extended the wing a little bit, the shape of the wing, right there, just to help me later on. But once I was doing my final drawing, I noticed that it was all right. So here, guys, this is my final drawing. But basically right now you guys have your sketch, and now that you guys have your sketch, just make any changes. Something doesn't look right, go ahead and change it before you make your final drawing. If, like, for example, the wing, you don't like the wing, then you guys could go ahead and change it. That's why I told you guys to not press that hard on your pencil, just because we were, just in case if anything didn't look right, you guys could erase it. You know, it's a sketch, it's not your final drawing. You guys can make any changes now. Your sketch is just there to help you, so just make any changes. If you guys don't like the hair, if you guys don't like the leaves on his neck, or something, anything, you know, just make any changes. And then usually what I do, once I have my sketch, I erase the whole drawing. First time I make small changes, you know, if something doesn't look right, I'll go ahead and change it. But once I do my changes and I'm happy with the sketch, you know, it's just about cleaning the drawing and making your final drawing. So the way I do it, usually a lot of people, they just they use like a pen or a Sharpie or anything like that, and they just outline their final drawing, and then they just erase the pencil once the ink is dry, you know. But the way I like to do it is where I erase the whole drawing, you know, and even though I'm erasing, I can still see those lines. If you guys pay close attention, you guys can still see the lines that are erased, because I did make some changes. One of those lines that you guys might be able to see is like on the long hair part of the body, you know, the line that we did at the beginning, the first shape. You guys can see the line that was there before. Another thing was the right eye. If you guys notice where I had it before, it was a little bit higher, just like I mentioned earlier, so I lowered it, but you guys can still see the line there. And in person, the lines there are a little bit more visible than it is on video, but the lines are still there, you know. So I'm using those lines to basically do my final drawing. Even though I erased it, they're still there, so they're just helping me do the final drawing. And then usually what I do is I start basically on the face or any spot that I think it's a good place to start. For this one, I started on the beak. I fixed the beak, you know, I try to make it good. Then from there on, I did the eyes, and then the heart, and then the hair, you know, and I just went from there. And then I just made the lines a lot better, a lot cleaner, you know. I worked on the shapes a little bit more. For example, the leaves on his neck, the bow tie, basically I fixed those. The shape, if you guys saw before, they were more round. Right here I fixed them up a little bit, just looking at the reference, you know, paying close attention to the shape of everything, and just making those small changes that makes the drawing overall. Another thing that I did forget was there's a line in between the wing on the left. I didn't do that on the reference, but it's just something you guys could tell, you guys could do now. It basically goes up to where the let's say, you see those leaves, not the leaves, it's hard to explain, guys, the fur on his stomach, you know, those upside down triangle that we did earlier, it basically lines up with that. If you guys look at the reference, it basically lines up with the bottom of with the point of the triangle, you know. Right here I did mine a little bit higher than the actual triangle, but like, it's just a small thing, you know. It doesn't have to be like the reference, so that's why it doesn't really matter right there. I made mine a little bit longer, but it was just a small thing, you know. It's not a big deal. And then I fixed the wing. I left it, the one that's sticking out, I left it the same. Like I said before, at the end I did like another line just to help me, just to extend the fingers a little bit more. But once I was doing the whole drawing, I noticed that it was okay. It was just a matter of fixing the fingers, you know, making them a little bit better. But I basically just followed my sketch, and that's what I got, guys. I just made the fingers basically more like feathers, you know. The point, like the point is actually like rounded off a little bit, but it still ends at a point, you know. So that's one of those things. Another thing, the feet. If you guys notice the feet, you guys can't see how it was before, just because I didn't press the heart, just because I knew I wasn't happy with the legs when I was doing with the feet once I was doing my sketch. So that's why the lines once I erased them, you could barely see them. But basically, I just made my feet a little bit smaller, and like before, if you guys look at the smallest, the toe, I guess, the one that goes into the middle, towards the middle, they're basically the smallest one, and it's pretty small, and it's basically like a triangle shape sideways, you know, and it basically goes up to the middle. Right now, looking at it, the right one is a little bit smaller than the one on the left, but it's all right, you know, it's just a small thing, a small mistake that I made. So I would just look at the reference just to do yours. Another thing that I did different right there on the feet was that mine are more short, I guess, than the one on the reference. The ones on the reference, they're like thinner and longer. Mine are chubby and small, so it's all right. It doesn't make a big difference. It's okay, you know. And also mine are more curved, like the bottom's more curved. The ones on the reference are a little bit more flat. So it's up to you guys the way that you guys want it. Right there, I did it like that just because it didn't bother me. If it does bother you guys, then just go ahead and do them. Sorry guys, just do them a little bit more flat. And I worked on the shapes of the wing, like the inside of the wing, you know, it's like green and orange. I fixed those. I worked a little bit on them, you know, but basically they're on the same spot. I just made the shapes a little bit better, just like the wings, you know. And basically that's it, guys. Another thing that I did was lower the eye, like I said before. And that's it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this tutorial. And for the colors, I used really dark green, not dark green, really light green. I mean, that was completely the opposite. I have markers. I have Prisma Premier color markers, just in case you guys were wondering. I used a really light green, the lightest one that I had, the closest one I had to the reference, and I think it's pretty much the same color. Obviously it's different just because the reference is computer made, made in the computer, not computer made. Somebody drew it, but it's on the computer, you know, so you could get any color that you want on the computer. But I still think it was pretty close, you know. It's never gonna be a perfect match, colors from markers or pencils to whatever colors that the programs have on computer, you know. But it was close, you know. Another is the brown. I used the darkest brown that I had for the body, and then for the shadows, for the white parts, for example on the left wing and the bottom of Dartrix, I used the lightest gray that I had. I have a set of grays. I just used the lightest one, and I just looked at the shadows. It's a little bit more rough than it is on the reference, but it's okay, you know. And then for the orange, I just used the regular orange that I had. And then for the shadows, I used like a really light brown. I went over it just to give it that darker look, you know. The same thing on I think it's the inside of the mouth. It's not actually the actual beak. I think he's like opening his mouth. I still don't know. Just now comparing the faces, they look way different, guys. Like I should have made the heart a little bit more round here. I made mine too straight, and I didn't notice that before until right now. So that's one of those things that you guys might want to change. Yeah, the lines is more of a circle. Mine's a straight line. Right now I'm looking at the cheek, basically the white part where it meets the brown. On the reference is more round, way more round. Mine's basically a straight line, so it kind of throws it off a little bit, but it's okay overall. So yeah, guys, so hopefully you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you guys did end up drawing Dartrix, let me know in the comment section below. Let me know how it turned out. And remember, if you guys want to send in your drawings just like the ones you saw at the beginning of this one, to be featured on my videos, make sure to send them in. The links will be in the description to my email, my Twitter, and my Facebook. If you guys are gonna send it on Facebook, let me know, because I never go on there. So if you do send it there and not tell me, then you know I might find it later on, you know. So if you guys do, if Facebook is the only option that you guys have, then just let me know here in the comment section, letting me know that you sent me your drawing there. But preferably I choose Twitter, just because it's easier to go back to them once I need them. The same thing with the email, you know. So yeah, so I just want to thank you guys for watching, and I guess I'll just catch you guys on the next video. Team Rocket Draws out.